Let's give it away. Good posture, connect with heaven, earth, and human. I hope you know what I mean by that. I think I've talked about it. And with respect and friendliness, give it away. How is everyone? So today, today we're going to focus on titles. So I think some of you have come prepared with a title and we can workshop those. So we'll get to that. And when I say, how are you? I mean it, but we have a lot to get through for an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to jump in with your permission. So good titles are not necessarily flashy. They can be super boring, and that can be an amazing title. A title is not a performance exactly. It's wrapping up the present. So a title is more akin to the cherry on top of a sundae, or the spire on top of a church, or the little jewel on top of a crown. It is sort of a little dot on top of the I, cross on the T. It is encapsulating everything that you just wrote and going ding. So a title should make that sound. When you find the right title, it should go ding, meaning like in Buddhism, to give a transmission, they might snap their fingers. It's a moment where you're like, that's it. Title should go. Does that make sense? Are we done? All right, great meeting. Thank you, everyone. Go get them. So it's super important to not title your book until you're done, or your collection of poetry, or your collection of essays, or your serialization of what have you. Could be journalistic pieces, right? That said, and we've already gone over this, that said, you can have a working title, and you should have a working title, and that's great. And we're going to get into working titles of serialization, since that can be confusing and you're trying to do two different things at the same time, right? With a serialization, you're trying to have a unique call out for a chapter or for a standalone piece that people want to read, right? Sorry, I'm looking at Redford. And at the same time, you're trying to tie it into the larger whole. So what is a contemporary example of the perfect title for one chapter of a serialized novel? Actually, I'll just bring you with me. So where is it? So all of you will recognize these books. Got to unplug, right? So Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Throne, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. So these are great examples, not just of a book title, but of a serialized chapter title within a book. So, you know, that Harry Potter kind of style title is not new, right? It's borrowed from the Hardy Boys, from Nancy Drew. So basically, in that title, it's doing two things. It's saying, this is the title of the book, Harry Potter, and this is the specific title of the book, or the short story, or the collection of poetry, or whatever, and the Deathly Hallows. So that is a great way to title your serialized pieces on Elephant Journal. So if your title is, so like with my book, it was Things I Would Like to Do With You in the Woods, Things I Would Like to Do With You This Evening, Things I Would Like to Do With You, Things I Would Like to Forget, you know, I don't know, whatever. It was a whole series and they kind of tied together, but individually they were interesting to click on. And that's a key kind of contradiction. So you're doing two things at the same time. Yeah, there's a rhythm, but it's also, it's telling you two things. It's telling you, one, it's part of a larger whole, and two, even if you don't care or know about that, it's interesting in and of itself. Should I say that again, or is that super clear? Say it again. So with a serialized title, you're trying to do two things at once. One, you're trying to connect it to the larger whole for those who are watching the series, like if it's on Netflix in a sense. Or two, it's standalone. So people can enter because it's interesting on its own. So if you're putting up a blog on Elephant, a serialized blog of your book, you want people to click it whether or not they've read any of the prior chapters. Okay, good. So that's the serialized deal. So I guess I was supposed to check in on the Mindful Life Challenge. Does anyone remember their Mindful Life Challenge, and are you doing it? Are you avoiding plastic, and or are you multitasking or not? Are you trying to stop and fully task when you need to text? Tell your friend who you're with, hey, I need a moment to reply to this text. Or are you, what's the third one? Taking off your shoes. Oh, got my slippers on. They're wool slippers. I love this company. They're called Gallups or something. Gallups. You can see even with slippers that stay inside, they've got dog hair on the bottom. Anyway, love them. They're wool. All right, multitasking. Keep failing. Keep trying again. That's the meditation practice. No shoes in the house. Yes. Removing shoes, avoiding to-go cups. So why, again, reminder, why do we do this? Because it's number one, it's kind of ethical and cool. But number two, we can't actually break out of our busyness, the busyness that will be with you for the rest of your life and my life, right? That busyness will get in the way of us beginning to write and finish. So if we can work with our habits of busyness to practice new habits, we can practice, as Kelly said, I think, coming from busyness into mindful habits. And that's what we need to finish a book. So number one, it's ethical, it's eco, whatever, but those are sort of coincidences. More, we're trying to actually implement habits in our life so that we can make changes. Does that make sense? So if you're trying, that's enough. If you're succeeding, good for you, really. But if you're failing, that's okay, because that's the practice. The key is to keep trying. That's like in meditation, you're going to keep thinking, and then you come back to the present moment, to the breath. Okay, so I think we touched on that enough. I want to full steam ahead because I'm concerned that some of you don't feel like you're getting enough. So I want to overwhelm you with too much. That's my solution. All right. So here's a fun little exercise. So in the next 20 seconds, and if you don't do it, I won't read it. That's fine. What is a favorite title from all time? It can be a movie. It can be a book, ideally. It can be a collection of poetry. It can be a novel. It can be a biography. It can be a whatever. Children's book. What's a favorite book of all time? Or book title. Sorry, favorite title. Gone with the Wind, I assume you mean. What Things May Come. Both of those are great examples of kind of evocative titles. The Secret Life of Bees. The Lost Salt Gift of Blood. Jitterbug Perfume. Oh, Sherry, good one. Don't know that one. Where the Red Ferns Grow. Brilliant. What's the one about the dog who dies? To Kill a Mockingbird. Perfect. Love Medicine. The Dispossessed. Guys, practice capitalizing. Practice being your own editor. Civil Disobedience. Love that. Drunk Mom. The Secret. Sorry, that's my view of The Secret. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Brilliant. Fried Green Tomatoes. Brilliant. In the Whistle Stop Cafe. Snow Falling on Cedars. Yes, we were just talking about half of these. Old Yeller. Cutting for Stone. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. Such a good title. The Notebook. Yeah, that's a great example of something like On the Road that's so succinct and vague, but somehow works. Call of the Wild. So good. all that remains. Joe, good one. And that is what I asked for. Great titles. Cutting for Stone, great. Okay, so the ones that Emily suggested, here's a few. Confederacy of Dunces, 100 Years of Solitude, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, Ender's Game, Like Water for Chocolate. All right, so I think here, let me, should I read some heartbreaking work of staggering genius? I was just trying to think of that this morning. Anne, I love that. But remember to capitalize stuff. Be your own editor right now. If you can't edit yourself, you know, you're not live editing yourself. All right, so practice being an editor with yourself. Okay, so folks, that's fun. Titles are fun, but what's the danger of rattling off great fun titles? What's the danger of it? What is the danger of rattling off fun, effective, great titles? What is the danger of rattling off fun, great, eloquent titles? What is the danger? What is the downside? Too many ideas, distraction. Not quite, not quite, not quite. What is the danger of trying to copy them close? We get caught up in it close. Expectations, super close. What is the danger of rattling off great titles? You get stuck on a title and forget about the real work now writing your book. Deborah, brilliant, confusing the mind. You start to think that that's the only way to title something. They aren't our own. The urge to mimic, so close. Shallow, not pertaining to body of work. It becomes a focus, writer's block. Yes, but why? Cage, not original. Too much pressure. Yes, but why? What? So perfection is the word I'm looking for. Being too cute, that alludes to perfection. Do we want to try to be perfect up there? You can't plagiarize a title, actually. Do we want to be perfect? Do we want the great American novel or wherever we live? Do we want to be perfect? Do we? Do we actually? Do we actually? Do we actually? Do we? Do we want to be perfect? Do we want to be perfect? Please, someone answer. Of course not. No. No. Yeah, we do, but we don't. We don't actually want to be perfect. There's a lot of fiction will allude to that. Like, what's that book? Or yeah, it's the perfect ladies who turn out to be murderous robots. We don't want perfect. Or Mean Girls. We don't want to be perfect. Perfect is cold. Perfect is cold. Perfect isn't perfect. Perfect isn't fun. Perfect doesn't have a sense of humor. Perfect's overrated. Stepford wives, thank you. We don't want to be Stepford wives or husbands, Stepford people. Yeah, exactly, Josie. What is it called? Wabi-sabi. So we want to be genuine. We want to feel. Does anyone here never want to feel anything? Sure, we all feel like we don't want to feel something once in a while. Perfection is overrated. But you want to be genuine. You don't want to even be effective, Tara. You want to connect. You want to be genuine. You want to be helpful. You want to catharsis. You want to tell your story, right? Real, authentic, relatable. Yeah. Okay. Let me read. So now let's go back to a couple more fun titles. So I'm going to read a whole bunch of titles. And while you listen to them, just close your eyes and let yourself just relax into the warm waves of the titles. And at the end of that, tell me what they have in common, what message they have for you. So really listen, let your mind open, listen. The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Close your eyes. Feel these titles. 100 Years of Solitude. 1,000 Splendid Suns. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. To Kill a Mockingbird. For Whom the Bell Tolls. If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler. The Fault in Our Stars. And Then There Were None. The perks of being a wallflower, a streetcar named Desire. Everything is illuminated. Something wicked this way comes. The sun also rises. Midnight in the garden of good and evil. Gone with the wind. The particular sadness of lemon cake. The remains of the day. Their eyes were watching God. Never let me go. Where angels fear to tread. Everything that rises must converge. All quiet on the Western Front. Love in the time of cholera. The silence of the lambs. East of Eden. The grapes of wrath. A clockwork orange. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Wuthering heights. The shadow of the wind. The moon is a harsh mistress. Snow falling on cedars. No country for old men. The sound and the fury. Brave new world. The curious incident of the dog at the nighttime. Things fall apart. Heart of darkness. I know why the caged bird sings. As I lay dying. The winter of our discontent. The art of racing in the rain. Far from the madding crowd. Cried the beloved country. All the light we cannot see. The name of the rose. The wind in the willows. The God of small things. The sailor who fell from grace with the sea. The left hand of darkness. Let the northern lights erase your name. I could go on. What do those titles whisper to you? What do they have to teach us? There's no wrong answer in this case. What do they have to teach you? What do they tell you? What do they do for you? They're all different length, different rhythm. Pain, loneliness, suffering, angst, picking apart life, attempts to understand life. There's something more to learn. Evocative. They all make you feel something. They set a mood. They create a space. They raise curiosity. They're lyrical. Justice. No rose-colored glasses. Craft and rhythm. Poetry. Pique curiosity. Set a tone. They create beautiful images through the choice of words. They draw me in without giving anything away. Perfect. I had a visceral response to many of them. Some of them I leaned into. Alluring, descriptive. Let go of everything you ever known. Also often emits a feeling. Evoke images. Mysterious. Feel. Okay. So, how do you title something good? How do you title something well? Who cares? There's lots of good titles out there, right? I would venture to say On the Road is a perfect title. The Bible is a perfect title. There can be really boring, short titles that aren't evocative, that are perfect. So again, what is a great title? Let's talk about that. A great title takes the entire story. This is why you have to do it at the end. It takes the entire story. What am I doing right now? Is this like the breaststroke? What is this, the butterfly? A great title takes the entire story and wraps it up in a red ribbon. So it can be short and boring, or it can be longer and evocative. It can be kind of pedestrian in the sense Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but it encompasses the story and it adds something, or it just encapsulates what's already there. So a great title is a duvet cover. A great title is a ribbon. A great title is the ribbon, the gem on the crown, the dot on the I. It can be a show-offy title like or a cute like The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake, or I have many, many more here. Girl Interrupted. The heart hums in B, the earth hums in B flat. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Why is that so good? The Old Man and the Sea. The Solitude of Prime Numbers. Tender is the Night. Beautiful. What's his other one? His first one, This Side of Paradise. Long Day's Journey into Night. A Children's Christmas in Wales. A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius. The Inheritance of Loss. I Know This Much Is True. Pride and Prejudice. The Call of the Wild. So, The Year of Magical Thinking, great example. So, for those kind of titles, they're sort of poetic, they're beautiful. There's some sense that there's an entire story within those 5 words. There's an entire rhythm. They're evocative, they're specific, but they're general at the same time. It's sort of like the Nike swoosh, one of the all-time great logos, right? It tells the whole story of Nike, right? Of the wing on the messenger's foot, Mercury, the how hard training is, and then the speed and the flow. It tells a whole story in a little gesture. It's art. It is rhythm. It is feeling. So the danger here, and why I wanted to talk about that perfection thing, is we can get super caught up in titles. We need a perfect title, right? But you don't need a perfect title. A good title, and why don't we be harsh right now? Things I would like to do with you. Is it a good title, a bad title, a stupid title, a forgettable title, a great title? I would say it's a pretty good title. I wouldn't say it's one of the great all-time titles, but I would say it's pretty good because it's specific, it's descriptive, but it also evokes some feeling. It's clearly romantic, and it clearly alludes to there are things I would like to do with you, and those will be the chapters. So it accomplishes a lot in one. Things I would like to do with you. I mean, it's actually a lot of words, but I guess not that many syllables. Things I would like to do with you. So it's still sayable, rememberable. Does that make sense? So we don't want a perfect title. Banish perfect titles. We want an evocative title. We want a title that encapsulates the story. Are we good to move on? Does that make sense? Are we inspired by these beautiful titles but not caught up in trying to have a perfect title? Are we inspired by these perfect titles but not caught up in having to have a perfect title and focused on having an evocative title that encapsulates, that is the ribbon on the present, that adds a little something, that adds something that's missing? Hi. Yeah, so On the Road, or there's lots of boring titles, right, that are perfect. So why is On the Road good? Because there's some sense that it's a journal of life on the road. And the first paragraph or first chapter talks about that. If Jack Kerouac's On the Road had been titled My Adventures on the Road, or My Crazy, Wild, Hip, sexy, crazy adventures on the road, it wouldn't have the same power. On the Road makes it almost like this, it brings it into Joseph Campbell kind of mythology. It's a path. That's it. The open road and what's going to happen. It's sort of like a journal. It's perfect. It doesn't oversell itself. It undersells itself. Yeah, and to Donna or Dana, you're going to have to forgive me, I hope. I forget if I think it's Dana. But the great advantage of serializing, I didn't have the title for Things I Would Like to Do With You until the very end. Isn't that interesting? I wrote 30-something chapters, right? Serialized them. I had millions and millions and millions of readers, and I still didn't have the title. And at the end, I went to Lindsay, my editor, and I said, I think the title is Things I Would Like to Do With You in the Woods, because that's the fundamental visualization of the book. And she said, you're kind of all over the place with the chapters. I think just Things I Would Like to Do With You is better. And I said, yeah, I guess you're right. Things I Would Like to Do With You. I could live with that. It's a little less romantic, a little less specific, but it works. So I'm just going to give you the visualization. So here's my library in here. So there's hundreds and thousands and millions of books, right? Every year, everyone's writing everything. And very few of them, there's Kerouac on the road, very few of them are remembered. And what again makes a good title? Here's Catcher in the Rye. We were soldiers once and young. Sun also rises, man who mistook his wife for a hat. And I made a point to include, those are just 4 right there. But obviously, a huge number of the titles I read before are by women, by people who are not American, by people who are not white men. So obviously good titles are the provenance of anyone, any story, any person, any heart, any story that you have. So, all right. So what should a good title do? A good title can do different things, but a good title, there are different families of good titles, but basically a good title should create, as someone said, curiosity. Tension is a great one. So like, what was my recent blog? It was something about how empaths are selfish, right? I had another blog that I'm very proud of still. It kind of inspired my book. It's titled Love is Selfish. That's a kind of offensive title. You read that, you want to argue with the title. And that became a big hit, not just because of the title, but because the blog was presenting something unique and new, or at least new to our general thinking. And it was actually really heartfelt. It wasn't negative. It was really heartfelt. And it became basically things I would like to do with you. So a title is like the crown, remember? But you also need the whole rest of the head and the body. So the body is the work. The body is the whole story. Right, the empaths one. I forget what the title was, but it was something like empaths are the worst, most selfish people on the planet. And Love is Selfish. These are very challenging titles that make you want to read it. So whether they're challenging, critical, positive, whatever, it gives you curiosity. It has a little bit of openness, and ideally it has some rhythm. The heart is a lonely hunter. Oh, I don't even know what it's about. I want to read it. I want to hold it. Children's books are amazing at this. The Wind in the Willows. What are some good children's books titles? Babar and the blah, 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 blah. That's like the Harry Potter thing. Tintin and the blah, 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 blah. So there's a very humble, formal, descriptive power to the Babar, Harry Potter, Tintin kind of titles. They're just very descriptive, and they tell about an adventure. So, I mean, that's a great title right there. Wake the Sleeping Dogs. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Whoever's Incredibly Rough, Awful, Grumpy Day. Remember that one? Chronicles of Narnia. So beautiful. The Day the Crayons Quit. Dr. Seuss. I think that's misspelled. Dr. Seuss. Green Eggs and Ham. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Why is that title so good? Let's just talk about that title. It's specific. It's funny. It's heartfelt, because we all have, who here has had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad morning ever? You wake up grumpy and you're blah, blah, blah. Where the Wild Things Are. So beautiful and descriptive. Mole Sisters and the Piece of Moss. Okay, so hopefully we're inspired, but we don't need perfect. And we remember that it's evocative and can have a little bit of so have a little element of specificity and have a little element of rhythm and evocative. So there's 3 elements there: descriptive, evocative, and rhythm. And all told in that, it should allow a little bit of space for curiosity. Can someone write that down in the sidebar? So a little element of descriptive, rhythm, and evocative. Did I forget something there? I think I did. But basically, there's a little bit of tension or openness, a little bit of an invitation. Whether it's tension or openness, it has a little bit of a sense that you want to lean in, like someone just said. Can someone write that down a little bit more? So specificity, evocative, rhythm, invitation to lean in, tension, curiosity. Let's write all that down. Okay. So I love those children's books titles, because a great title isn't some just great literary, person leaning around smoking a pipe, right? These children's books are just as good, if not better. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is just brilliant. That's like puts you right into the children's whole mindset. I have a whole shelf. Let me come right back. Encore for Illinois. Children of Christmas. Well, this is a great meeting. Just left the room. All right. So just to give you the visualization, you get a little time for yourself. Is that backward? So obnoxious. So, A Child's Christmas in Wales. Notice the calligraphy. Notice the drawing. It's not backward. Great. All-time classic. What? Can someone write that down? Child's Garden of Verse. Verses. Old-fashioned cover. Here's the sort of Harry Potter kind of title. Dr. Dolittle and the Green Canary. And again, the illustration, the feel of the whole thing. You got to think about how it's going to appear on the spine. This one had like 50 different books, all with similar titles, but different adventures, Harry Potter style. Notice again the calligraphy, the illustration, how it appears on the spine. Can people write down these titles as we go? So we got Dr. Dolittle and the Green Canary, A Child's Christmas in Wales, famous. Dr. Seuss, obviously written in his particular font. The spine very clear, pops. Babar, again, similar to Dr. Seuss. So Babar, it's a whole series. The word says it all. And the spine is very strong with the custom like signature. So it's not just typed. All right, so those are a couple children's. Okay, so is titling different for blogs versus serialized writing? So the blog kind of title is basically going to be like Babar or The Black Stallion or Dr. Dolittle and the Green Canary. It's going to say like Eco Boy versus Yoga Girl, The Naked Truth. They get in a fight at the whatever. Like I have all these chapters. I can't remember what they are right now, but it's sort of like things I would like to do with you, things I would like to do with you in the winter, So you're trying to do two things. We've already kind of talked about that. So the serialization title needs to bring people in because you want readers, you want a community. So remember all the Black Stallion books were like the Black Stallion X and Y does this and that. Did anyone here read Black Stallion when they were a kid? Great books. Okay, so remarkably, titles can be sort of similar logic for essays, for novels, for autobiographies. There's beautifully titled autobiographies. They're not all just like Churchill. For poetry. Okay, so titles do not exist on their own. They're the ribbon on the present. So what's the whole wrapping paper? What's the stuff to bring you in? Because the book is actually what's in the present, right? You bet. The book is what's in the present. So what pulls you in? So I like to talk about, for your serialization, for your blog, for your book, the coffee shop analogy. So can people, let's really refocus here. So coffee shop analogy. So let's say you are walking around your town Do all of you have a main street in your town with cute cafes and bookstores? Does anyone not have a cute street that you can visualize? If you don't have one in your town, visualize Paris or New York or some cute little town in Vermont, wherever. Do all of you have a cute little street in mind? Newbury Street in Boston, wherever you are. Has all of you got a visualization? Can we get a bunch of height? Visualize a cute street you actually have been to, you actually know. Okay, Alexis, visualize one where you've traveled or where you've been, a cute street where you want to walk around. But a specific street, not just Paris generally. Tennyson Street, Denver, Northampton. I'm visualizing Pearl Street in Boulder. Okay, so you're walking down this cute street. This is about how to title, but not just title, how to do the cover. And you only have control over the cover generally if you self-publish or you publish with Elephant Books or whatever. So this right here is a plug for doing it yourself. Yeah, it needs to be a kind of cute street, Marcy. So visualize it somewhere. Lisbon, oldest bookstore in the world there. So cute. Okay, I'm going. In interesting street works. Church Street, Burlington, Vermont. Amen. Exactly. Brevard Ave, Cocoa Village. So this is how to do the cover. So that's a plug for do the course, elephantjournal.com/indiebook, to figure out how to not only write, but publish and sell the hell out of your book. elephantjournal.com/indiebook. So, and it's self-paced. Don't worry, you don't have to spend more time with me. So you're walking along this cute street. Oh, and it's how to do the subtitle, the introduction on Facebook. So a lot of selling the hell out of book is how to market these blogs to get people to read them, right? I wrote an article about how empaths are nasty, nasty people, or they're mistaken. They're actually good people who are just mistaken. That's a kind of blog that could do well or not. I wrote a blog about fuck modernism, right? Excuse my French. That is really about like buying stuff on Craigslist, right? Like this table and chair that we're sitting at. Everything you can see, oops, Craigslist. So that's kind of boring. Most of our titles are about, bullshit astrology, right? That do well. So how do you title these things so they're popular? When they're popular, you get lots of readers. And when you serialize something, you get lots of readers, you get lots of commenters, you get lots of advice, you get lots of free community coaching, and then you can put it on Kickstarter or whatever and fund your printing, which is what the /indie book is all about. So you need a great cover, you need a great introduction for your Facebook shares, for your Instagram shares, for your Twitter shares, for your Kickstarter shares, for your Elephant shares. Do you know what I mean here? We're going to do 2 extra weeks on this. 70% of us here, 70 out of the 100 are going to continue for 2 weeks on how to market this. But this is a little taste so that you kind of have enough. So you need 3 things, not just the title. You need a title, you need a cover, and you need a subtitle or an introduction. Have I lost people, or is this working for you? Got to plug back in. Don't worry, it's solar powered. Okay, so you're walking along this cute street and you have an appointment, or you have a lot to do, or you're a tourist and you need to get to the museum and you need to run around. You have stuff to do. You are not Redford. Hey. You are not intending to stop. You are walking down this cute street. You are looking around. You're having a nice time, but maybe you're on your phone a little bit because you're not doing the mindful challenge. And you have a place to go and you have limited time. Are you guys in? Yeah, this is how you get good at intros, titles, and subtitles. So do you guys have that visualization? You are busy. You have a place to go. You have places to be. You have limited time, but you're kind of enjoying walking down the street, but you're also a little bit on your phone or you're talking with someone. Do you guys have that visualization? Deborah, let's hold off for a second. Get into that slightly speedy, slightly distracted. You're on a mission. You're walking a little bit quickly. You know, when you're walking a little bit quickly, a little bit speedily, can I get a height? Is anyone feeling this? You're walking down a street in a speedy way, but you're kind of looking around, enjoying yourself. It's a cute street. Yeah, exactly like normal life. So you're walking along and you see, so you're in that speedy state of mind. And right in front of you, slightly irritating, frankly, is a sandwich board. The sandwich board, you're going to trip over it. I hate sandwich boards. They're obnoxious. God damn it. But the sandwich board is kind of cute. It's made out of quarter sawn oak, and it has a black chalkboard, and someone has beautifully calligraphed a quote by an author you love. You know? So I don't know what the quote would be, but the quote could be, you know, some quote by Dylan Thomas. And it gives you a little moment of like, oh, that's nice. It makes me appreciate the winter day. It's snowy here in Boulder. It makes me, oh yeah, I remember being a kid and reading that book and blah, blah, blah. But you're going to keep walking. But because the sandwich board is in your way and it's kind of slowed you down with a brief moment of remembering being a kid and the holidays or whatever you actually like about the holidays, not the consumerism, gives you a brief moment, and you turn your head as you go to walk by and you look in and you see window displays with books for sale, and you see golden lit, like those warm lights, not the cold lights, right? And you see people walking around in books and coffee or whatever it is about the store wherever you are that you're walking by. Maybe it's baked goods, maybe it's little gifts, maybe it's a chocolate shop, maybe it's a card shop, printed cards. But whatever it is, you look in, maybe you see people, the door opens and out wafts the smell of like cinnamon raisin toast and coffee, and people are talking and clinking, glasses on tables or porcelain mugs on tables. And you have this brief moment of like, oh, this smells really inviting and warm and community-ish. And you ask yourself a question in that moment because you're speedy, you're on your way somewhere, but you're not fully speedy. You're also slightly enjoying the walk. You say, maybe I want a hot chocolate. Do you want a hot chocolate? If you're with a friend, you're like, you want to get a chai? You want to get a mate? You want to get a coffee? You want to get a tea? You want to get a scone? Do you want to get a muffin? Right? Yeah, the door is there. You have a moment of trust because you see lots of people in there. It's golden lit. It's open. It smells good. Sandwich board stopped you. You want to walk in, but you're not totally sure if you have places to go. You need to get to the museum, blah, blah, blah. All right? So you look up. You're like, what is this place? You look up, and it doesn't say coffee shop. Maybe it does, but it doesn't say something stupid like Joe's. It might say Joe's coffee shop. Maybe it says the Trident Booksellers and Cafe, like it does here in Boulder. It says something sort of vague, but sort of evocative, sort of, in that case, old-fashioned and formal, the Trident Booksellers and Cafe. And the and, of course, is the ampersand. So at that point, you're like, you know what? This is why I'm in Paris. This is why I'm in Boulder. This is, whether you're a tourist or you're a local, you're like, yeah, forget the museum. I want a croissant. Vegan, of course, applesauce, not butter. And you walk in and you know that you're going to have a good experience. You don't know how good, but you know you're relaxed, you have faith. Maybe you look around, but you don't feel awkward. You know how like when you walk into like a shoe shop and everything's coldly lit, it's that white sterile. I don't mean like a nice shoe shop. I mean like some big corporate shoe shop. You walk in, all the light is like the hospital light where you're about to have surgery. It's that cold, not warm light. And you can see the whole place. And there's just shoes and boxes everywhere. And you walk in and 3 people immediately look at you and say, do you need help? And you kind of walk around, you're curious because you did want some shoes, but you're a little bit like, leave me alone. That's not the experience we're talking about. So we're talking about a welcoming experience where you feel romanced. You feel trusted. So it's a little bit akin to a pickup line at a bar or a cafe. So when you go up to someone and you are asking them out, you're a man or a woman, whatever, there's no trust between you. You don't know each other. In fact, there's almost distrust. Who is this person bothering me? Right? But if they go up and they're just friendly and they're grounded and they say something, oh, they make some connection that doesn't sound like BS. And before you know it, you're talking about hiking or whatever, and you naturally say, oh, let's go do this thing together. That is not so much a pickup line as just a genuine connection. And that is what you're trying to do. You're not trying to sucker people, because if you sucker people, the best you can get is fooled people. Fooled people will not share unless they're in a cult. By share, I mean, oh my God. So my book, Things I Would Like to Do With You, sells really well because people love it and they share that, and they tell their friends. So it's organic. There's trust between friends. There's trust in community. So you want to develop a relationship of genuineness, and trust, not suckering people in or making them uncomfortable. So the coffee shop analogy, what is the sandwich board? The sandwich board is your intro when you're sharing on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. The windows, the window display and being able to see in, see the people and all the gold lit everything, that is akin to the book cover, right? I showed you a bunch of book covers here. This is probably my favorite among these. This whole book cover is so good that, you know, it's on the level, it's so good that you want to buy it and just put it on your coffee table because it just makes you feel good. And yeah, you want to read it because you have faith that the rest of it will be just as beautiful. Oh, and it is. I mean, the whole thing is just that good. So the window displays and the interior that you can see is akin to the book cover. And the title of the cafe is the title. That's the coffee shop analogy. I don't think I missed anything there. So those three pieces have to work together, right? What if they don't work together? What if the sandwich board is a beautiful quote, you look in, everything's beautiful, you smell the croissants, and you look up at the title and it says, I will murder you if you come in here. You're going to leave. So the three things have to help each other. The three things they can have different aspects. They can hit you from different sides. They can connect with your heart, hit your heart from different approaches. One can be soft, one can be fast, one can be elegant, one can be humble, one can be charming, one can be funny, one can be riveting, one can be spacious. There can be different approaches. So let's do a few more things here. So obviously we're like 5 weeks in. So I really want to remind people that this course is it is about writing and finishing something, right? But how many of us are writing and finishing something? This course is meant to not inspire us through willpower or whatever. Yeah, I will murder you if you read this book. I mean, it could be a interesting Halloween kind of book, but this course is meant to kind of be a map. So when you go to Paris, you get a map of all Paris pre-Google Maps and show you the lay of the land so that when you have writer's block, you know to listen to it, not to try to fight it. When you put things on your calendar, like write for an hour every morning, and you don't do it, you don't use that as an opportunity to guilt trip yourself. You use that as an opportunity to say, the busyness that is keeping me from writing is busyness that is my birthright, that I shall have every day for the rest of my life. Is anyone caught in that busyness? Who here has written over the last 5 weeks for more hours than you have watched TV? Have you written more hours than you've watched TV? Or if you don't watch TV, is there something that you do for downtime that isn't writing? Do you know what I'm saying? So we all have enough time. We have enough time. We have enough time. 6 weeks is not enough time. That's something I could say. That's something all of us could say, but it is enough time. It is enough time. If you can get to the catharsis relationship with your story, you tell your story and it actually relaxes you as it benefits others, that will become your downtime. That will become your joy. There's this great quote, I think in this movie I was watching last night, ironically, a French movie or German movie. And it was like, if you want it, you will do it. So willpower won't get you to finish your book. Guilt tripping yourself won't get you to finish your book. Can we write that down? Can someone write that down? Willpower will not get you to finish your book or your collection of poetry or whatever. Your dream is no match for busyness. Your dream is no match for Netflix. Your dream is no match for whatever you do that is downtime, that wastes, in quote, waste your time. Your dream is no match. Your dream will be put off until you're dead. Busyness will win. So if you want it, you will do it. So you have to look at your busyness and you have to say, okay, me watching the World Series last night, that was kind of vaguely meaningful and fun and relaxing. Don't insult it. Don't guilt trip yourself. Let go of the guilt tripping. Let go of the trying to force yourself. Who here has tried to willpower or guilt trip your way into dieting? Has it worked? Does it work? Your dream is no match for Netflix. Willpower and guilt tripping will not get you to lose 5 pounds. What will get you to lose 5 pounds? Rejiggering your whole goal. Maybe your goal isn't to lose 5 pounds. Maybe your goal is to get fit. Getting fit is different than losing 5 pounds. Getting fit is exercising more, eating good food mindfully while you're sitting down, maybe not watching the TV. If you do watch the TV while eating, trying to be mindful about your food. I wrote about mindful eating, which I learned from Kripalu, which is relax, which is gratitude, which is appreciate, which is smell, which is chew, which is pause and then go on. So it's a discipline in the same way, but not discipline in the mean way. It's a discipline as in craft. It's a discipline in the same way that your Mindful Life Challenge is a discipline, it's a practice. You fail, you try. You fail, you come back. You fail, you do it again. You fail, you come back. You fail, you come back. You fail, you come back. So it's okay if you're failing because that means you're on the path. As long as you're coming back. Are you coming back? Are you coming back? Are you coming back? That's the question. So if you're not writing every day, that's okay. It's not okay in the sense that it's okay to keep not writing, but it's okay in the sense that that's what's happening. So you got to just, exactly, build a routine. You just have to say, okay, I'm going to write from 4 to 5 p.m. every day, come hell or high water. And if I have nothing to write about, I'll just write some fun stuff, just descriptive stuff. I'll just sit in a cafe and write about whatever I see. It doesn't really matter what you write. Just like start building in the discipline, the craft. What else did I overlook? Emily, can you mention anything I've overlooked? Because I think the new agenda included a few things. Oh yeah, a lot of the best titles will come out of your actual writing. So in the blog, in the serialization, again, put up your works on Elephant, get some feedback, even if it's one person. And guys, the more that you can, oh yeah, we got to workshop titles. So guys, do you want to put in all of your titles right now? I think we got 15 minutes. Yeah, so pick a few apprentice title examples that if they brought them and go over their titles. Great. So yeah, again, the title kind of makes you feel like the whole book is in 5 words or 3 words or 8 words. Okay. Guys, put in your titles and I will. Summers in Idaho. Perfect. So again, just so you know, I don't know the story, right? So I don't know if it's perfect. And actually, we don't like the word perfect. So it's evocative. Summers in Idaho, it sounds like a memoir to me. Remember that the title, the words don't matter as much as they have to encapsulate your story. Write on. So that's a funny title. It's catchy. If it's a book about how to write, that could be good. Burn the Fire, Living Yamas and Yamas. Great rhythm. Love it. From Emily Robinson. Oh, that's not the title. Lost and Found in My Mother's Kitchen. Beautiful. I have no idea what it's about, but I kind of want to know. Yeah, exactly. Donna or Dana. I didn't find the title of my Japanese memoir until it was done and edited. The Story of My Body. I love it. The Seventh Wave. I need a little bit of a subtitle there that sounds almost too generic, but it's powerful. It's epic. Star of the Machine. Sounds a little aggressive, but tension in a title can be great. I'm not seeing any bad titles here. Bedhead Mystic. Musings on Life, Love, Longing, and Service. So Justice, I like Bedhead Mystic a lot, but the musings on life, love, longing, and service, too generic. They don't tell me anything. Musings tell me a little bit. Life, love, what the hell is that? Longing and service, there's a little more there. Give me some specific fun words. Justice, give me some specific fun words right now. Tell me right now. What is it really about? Beyond life, get deeper, dig a little deeper, like you're carving away for fossils. Always about hope. Amy, super generic, super general, but kind of beautiful. Ladies, time to take some deep breaths. I like ladies, and I like time to take some deep breaths. I want a little bit of humor or edge. I want it to either get funny or like colloquial or charming, or a little bit like more aggressive. Tits Over Toes, a memoir of hammer curls, homeschooling, and hemorrhoids. So Justice, you need to get together with Dana or Donna, who is going to kill me about your name, but I don't know. That is a list. Like yours says, life, love, longing, hammer curls, homeschooling, and hemorrhoids. Dana or Donna, I will buy your book just for the title. You had me at hello. Exploring contrast and leaving breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs, great. Exploring contrast, I don't totally get it. So a little more specific, maybe. Silver Linings of Grief, Divorce, and New Love, or Beautifully Ordinary, Beautifully Real. Not liking either. I like Grief, Divorce, and New Love, Silver Linings. I like that. That's telling me why I should read it. Give me a little more like angst, divorcing my best friend and falling in love, get a little more specific, Here's the deal. Lessons learned from 1,000 divorces, 1 marriage, and 100K worth of therapy. Shari, nailed it. So these are long, but they're so charming. Donna. Okay. Donna. All right. Any other titles? Oh. I could say In My Mother's Kitchen, Me and LeBron James. Yes, something about that is super intriguing. Like, what? What's happening? What? Why are you in your kitchen with your mom and LeBron? My mom and LeBron. So these are great. Remember, because you're only in week 5, unless you've finished your thing, don't be too attached to the title. The working title is your best friend. And the working title is the title you can have from chapter 1 through chapter 30. But in chapter 30, it's a brand new day, and you think about your new title. I feel very alone in my living room today. Are we on the same page? Are we feeling good? Is anyone angry at life? Does anyone hate me? Oh, ask a question. Do titles have to hook? This is from Kelly, the mentor. Do titles have to hook or intrigue the reader the same way an intro does? Sometimes it seems like titles are what gets someone to read an article, but don't want to be clickbaity either. Seems like a fine line. Exactly. So you don't want to be clickbaity in a title, but you do want to intrigue them. So it's not clickbaity to say empaths are the most selfish people on the planet, right? It's not saying the reason empaths are imperfect is these 5 things. That's clickbaity, right? The title is a statement, it's definitive, but it's intriguing because it's very contradictory. Wait, I thought empaths were super sensitive, deeply feeling people. Shari, I've been crabby as hell and feeling alone all day. Thanks for the chortle. Brilliant title. My Japan memoir changed from These Little Earthquakes, I love that though, to The Safest Place. I like that, but it needs something more. The Safest Place. I mean, it's pretty damn nice. Maybe the cover. So remember, if you like the title and you will defend it, this title is my red ribbon on my present, then the cover might have to do something, right? The intro or the subtitle the description might have to do something, right? So you have 3 things that can do something here. The description is the least important. The sandwich board is the least important because the description may or may not be on your cover. All right. What was I doing? Oh yeah. So do titles have to hook or intrigue? Yeah, they kind of do. Not always, because if people are like, wow, this is a bestseller, right? On the Road's a bestseller. Hindsight is 2020. You think every title that was ever a bestseller was a good title, right? But some are successes because the writing's so damn good, or because the illustrations, or because of the subject matter, right, are so damn good. I keep thinking of The Bell Curve. In a way, that's a brilliant title because it talks about it evokes the whole subject in an incredibly descriptive, visual, image focused way. Kelly, how do titles of fictional work differ from titles of serialized works like memoirs, collections of essays? I don't think they do necessarily. I think a lot of fictional work, as we've seen, is Babar and the blah, 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 dee blue, Harry Potter and the blah, blah, blah. That's a kind of title of a book, or Things I Would Like to Do with You, from a serialized work. And even if Harry Potter and stuff aren't serialized, like Tintin actually was serialized, I think, in newspapers first. Even if Harry Potter wasn't serialized, it became serialized. There were 8 or 7 Harry Potter books, right? So there were different adventures, and the Harry Potter part and the illustrations is what tied them together. So I don't think it necessarily, basically there's no rules for a title, but you know one that works when you see it. The Alchemist. Yeah, that one's incredibly simple, but alchemy, and the notion of alchemy is a very interesting notion. And then saying it's a person who does that, it's very mysterious. It's very inviting. Okay. Okay, final question. Great questions. If you're using a subtitle when you're serializing, do you want to use the entire title plus the chapter title? It's going to be long. Or is it okay to use the main title with chapter titles to keep it all tied together? So when you're serializing, I would just use the sort of subhead, unless it's short. If your title is really short and you can have your title and your subhead in the same title, like Eco Boy versus Yoga Girl, The Naked Truth, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, that's good enough for a title, right? But if it's too short, then get rid of the Harry Potter, get rid of the Babar, and each individual title will be just the Sorcerer's Stone, that kind of thing. Things I Would Like to Do with You in the Woods. Does that make sense? So yeah, the whatever is going to be the most intriguing is going to be the best for the blog or the serialization title. How is serializing going for you guys? Any questions on the process? How is Parade going for you guys? Any questions? We have a few more minutes. Subhead is like a subtitle, basically. Sorry. Finding the Wise Woman Buried 6 Feet Deep. Kind of love that. What the hell is going on? It's kind of great. Finding the Wise Woman Buried six feet deep. Kind of love that, Raven. Any questions on parade or serialization on that process? Any question on busyness versus your dream? Writer's block. Any questions on any of that? If not, we can wrap up. You love parade. Yeah, parade is where you can get bounce back, you know? Serialization is where you can get a little more. But serialization is more training you to market your thing. So if you're struggling to get results from your serialization, that's okay. We have those last 2 weeks. All right, if you're leaving early, just a reminder, let's not announce that because then it becomes distracting and then it kind of deflates the actual meeting. Okay, so if there's no questions, let's bow out. So 3, 2, 1, no questions. Sold. Okay, let's take, wait, rally cry. Emily, do you want to just come on and let's see Emily. And she can say whatever she's saying. Bedhead Mystic, soul searching in the mountains. I love soul searching in the mountains, but soul searching is a little vague to me. It's a little bit too profound. Searching for my something in the mountains. And what mountains? Like maybe the cover is going to fill out what the mountains look like. But yeah, I'm feeling that a little bit more. German. It looked like Celtic to me. All right, Emily is coming. She's just quickly doing her hair. She's affixing a red pencil to her ear. She's putting some clutter behind her. Oh, no worries. So what's the rally cry? I don't remember what the rally cry is. I don't remember. Oh, we have 1 week left. So yeah. So this week, give yourself the gift. Is everyone here up for giving yourself a gift? Say hi if you are. Many of you have already given yourself this gift, but some of you haven't, including kind of me. Are all of you up for giving yourself a gift this week? Let's have everyone say hi. Let's have some buy-in. I'm doing the rally cry right now. A lot of hi. Okay, so the gift you're going to give yourself this week is the taste of doing it, the taste of success. So whether you've been doing it well or not, whether this has been going well or not for you so far, give yourself the gift of writing something, putting it in Parade, and putting it on serializing it, elephantjournal.com/post this week. Give yourself the gift of doing it this week, of tasting the success, not success of people loving you. Oh my God, Waylon, you're such a great, I'm so glad you wrote this. Give yourself the taste of success of doing it, of getting through busyness. Your busyness will be with you for the rest of your life. Give yourself the gift of actually taking your dream and tent pegging it down into your daily life. So whatever that takes, put it on your calendar, write something, put it in Parade, put it on as a serialization, actually do it. The success of tent pegging your dream into your daily life. Okay? That's the gift. It is okay to have separate titles for every single chapter. Don't worry about titles too much. When you're done, you can change all the titles you like. You can change anything, Amy. It's your work. No, this is exactly what you've been trying to do or doing, but actually let's make sure we all do it so we all have the taste. I'll put something in Parade. I'll put something up online. I mean, I've already put a few things up online, and I think 2 in Parade, but put something in Parade and serialize it this week. Give yourself the gift of tent pegging your dream down into your daily life. By tent pegging, pinning it actually down. So it's not just theory. It's not just dream, busyness, writer's block. It's actually just getting her done. Okay, thank you so much. Let's all take a good, deep breath and a good posture, and then relax, eyes open. Feel your breath come in and out. And with a sense of troublemaking and willingness to give yourself that gift, give it away. Thank you so much to you, to everyone. Great titles. Not perfect titles, but great.